Wednesday, November the 12th. Guys, today's skill is handstand push-ups. And recently I've been saying on skill day, hey, if you're interested in what we're doing for our accessory piece, go ahead and watch the other videos. And I'm still gonna say that. If you're interested in those drills, you can come to class, but always helps to have a little bit of some pre-class homework perhaps. But the reason I'm bringing it up now is to say that one of the drills today is going to have a lasting impact for us, at least we hope. The drill is called, well, it's called many things. We're going to call it handstand push-up hip drives. And the thing is, we're going to tag the movement with handstand push-up, but really aggressive hip drive is so important in almost all the CrossFit movements, like definitely a lot of the weighted ones and even some of the non-weighted ones. And I'm bringing that up now because today's shipper WOD has a few things in it that I really want, a lot of times people are not thinking about hip drive when they do those movements. And today, especially because we're just working on it anyway, let's think about hip drive. So let's get into it. Today's workout is a chipper. We're gonna call it a chipper, even if it's not by your definition of chipper, because here's exactly why. There are some people who can do 20 handstand push-ups unbroken at our gym, and then there are others who can do handstand push-ups, but would really need to chip away at like sets of 2. And we want those people to feel like this is a chipper. Sure, there are some more advanced athletes out there who are gonna think of this one as more of a sprint, but the majority of us are gonna be chipping our way through this WOD, and you should believe that you have the time and context to do that today. So just to kick us off, we start and end with double unders, a movement that we are not going to be shying away from, not even at volumes. And here's the thing, some people are going to chip away at 100 and that'll feel like a great practice session for them. Others maybe just immediately acknowledge, hey, for me that's 50, or for me, I'm not going to spend more than 3 minutes at a time on the jump rope. That would be appropriate for some people. It really just depends on where you are with the skill, and it just happens to be true that we are all over the place with that skill right now. All right, next, sit-ups. Ab mat sit-ups if you want, but sit-ups in general. Look, 80 is a daunting number, but it's it's about half of what you would do in, say, Annie. Everybody can do 80 sit-ups. It's a question of what does 80 in a row do to you? And I'll say, regardless of how often you need to break up a set of 80, it's going to tax your core, why is that important? You're going to need the core for everything else you do. This is gymnastics day. After all, we need length and tension. And by doing 80 sit-ups, you're still going to need tension in the ensuing movements, but it will be harder and you'll have to really focus on it. So do that. The next movement after your sit-ups is kettlebell swings. Great. I've taxed your core. Guess what you're going to need to rely on an extra amount? Hip extension. Kettlebell swings, by all accounts, are not a squat movement and not a pressing movement. They are a hinge movement. So you start by hinging, and then you use the flexion of your hips to snap the hips and really aggressively do so. And sometimes we have this issue in CrossFit, but just in movement in general, in exercise, where you could get away with a lighter kettlebell of not snapping your hips. You'll still end up where the kettlebell needs to go, but you didn't use your hips to do it. And it's kind of hard to catch. Sometimes people have a muted hip, and sometimes people just aren't using their hips at all. And today, you're gonna be thinking about it. I want you to remember how it felt during those hip drive drills and try to get that level of snappiness in your hips, provided you are capable of it, like physically, like meaning you don't have any hip issues at this moment. So you will be chipping away at 60 kettlebell swings. Just pick a loading where you can do 15 to 25 at a time, you think. This isn't a day to go heavier on the kettlebell. Up next, we've got burpees, 40 of them in fact. Nobody loves burpees, but I'll tell you what, burpees do have a part of their standard that requires extended hip at the end of the movement. In other words, you shouldn't be hunched over, you should stand, jump, clap, and in order to do that, today feels like a great time to achieve that hip extension through drive or violently opening it and being aware of that, like trying to do it and see how that feels. Great day to like over exaggerate, even if you need to be annoying about it. You can tell your coach that I told you to do it. Lastly, we have well, not lastly, because the workout ends on jump rope, but then we get to those handstand push-ups. And of course, I mentioned a set of 20 could be something that you need to chip away at based on where you're at with handstand push-ups right now. But we all kind of know where we're at with that skill right now, unless you're new. Many ways to achieve this one. We could do kipping handstand push-ups, but we could also do strict if that's your modification, where I can think of like 2 or 3 people who do that. That may be the exception. We also have the box modification. We have the dumbbell modification. We have a lesser amount on the wall modification. We have using a second ab mat, which is really as far as I want to go with that. There are many ways to do it. I'll trust that you'll work with your coach to figure out which is the most appropriate for you. But ultimately, if you have the skill of handstand push-up, particularly the kipping kind, I want you to feel like this workout, which has a 20-minute cap, is giving me the time and the context to work on that thing. Now, a lot of times I'll say that and it's like a no-brainer. Yeah, look, they put an impossible to achieve time cap on this. Nobody would ever need that time cap. Today, that's not necessarily true. Today, some people might end up getting capped. I get it. Totally okay. The reason you would get capped today, and we would be okay with it, is because you had a vendetta. You were like, you know what, I need to get those 100 double unders in order for me to feel successful, or I'm getting those 20 handstand push-ups in order to feel successful. We're still going to enforce the cap, but just know that from time to time it's okay to go, I'm not going to achieve the intended stimulus today, but it's because it's for a good reason. I have a movement, I need to attack it. I'm going to do that within the context of the squat. There are some times when that is appropriate, and a lot of times Wednesdays we make that available to you. So maybe that's how today will go. All right, so that's it. My time was 12 something, and so there you go, 12 something. Kettlebell for me was 25, 10. Burpees were pretty much unbroken. Handstand push-ups were 10 and 10. So, and my double unders were unbroken. So, I don't know. That kind of makes me feel like some people might get capped. That's what's making me say that. All right, gang. Have a good one. Have a good time. I think it's fun regardless of where you are with these skills, right? I could be wrong. Enjoy.